Magandang araw po sa lahat. Wina po ito ng Splat Communications. Mahalaga po ang ating tatalakayin ngayong araw. Alinsunod sa pinasimulang proyekto at advokasya ng Presidential Communications Office, kasama ang iba't ibang sangay ng ating pamahalaan, kasama na rin ang mga kilalang social media platforms gaya ng Meta na kumakatawan sa Facebook at Instagram, ang TikTok at ang X na dating kilala sa pangalan na Twitter, inilunsad ang pangkalahatang kampanya sa paglaban sa paglaganap ng fake news. Alam po namin na di na ito bago sa inyong lahat, at sa katunayan, karaniwan na natin itong naririnig at nababasa sa mundo ng internet at ng social media. Bago po nating simulang busisiin ang lahat ng mahahalagang dapat nating matutunan at talakayin ukol dito, panoorin po muna natin ang pahayag ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ukol dito. Pinapangako po naming marami kayong matututunan sa aming paghihimay sa isyong ito.
Sa panahon po natin ngayon ay napakadali ng pagkuha ng impormasyon gamit ang mga bagong teknolohiya, online news at social media. Ngunit kasabay nito ang mabilis din pagkalat ng maling impormasyon. False narratives and fake news have the power to mislead, divide, and even cause harm or damage. Our responsibility then is clear: to arm our citizens with the tools to discern truth from falsehood. Sa tulong ng Department of Education, Commission on Higher Education, Department of Interior and Local Government, at Department of Social Welfare and Development, kami ay umaasa na magiging matagumpay ang layunin natin lalabanang ang misinformation at fake news.
All my fellow workers in government, my partners and in the private sector, the all-important private sector partners, especially for this very, very important subject matter that we are trying to address today. Other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. I am, of course, very happy to join the guests from the government and the private sector to witness the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between key government agencies and the launching of the Media and Information, or MIL, project. In this day and age, the world has grown very much smaller because of technological advancements that hasten our integration into a single, cohesive digital society. The digital world is both borderless and also limitless, and everyone can now claim to be a netizen with just a few clicks of a mouse or a few touches on mobile devices, and we have joined the rest of the world when it comes to cyberspace. Back in the day, there was a time, a long time ago, some of the kids don't even remember this time, that we had to actually go out and engage with actual people, actual human beings, to engage in the exchange of information, in the exchange of, and to have a line of communication. But now we reach out to millions of people in the comfort of our homes, in our schools, in our workspaces, and through, of course, all the digital platforms that we have available to us today. News and information, which was, of course, delivered through what we now call the traditional media, newspapers, radio, television. Now, the multitude of information is available to anyone, anywhere, anytime. But that is information, pure and raw and unedited and uncurated and unexamined information. It is put out there. And that's why they say the internet is a great equalizer. Because the traditional media, for example, if you read an article that you're interested in, or that you would like to comment on, that you would like to respond to, you write a letter. And you say, "Dear editor, I am in full agreement with the op-ed column that was written by your columnist last Thursday about blah, 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 blah." And that is the only way that you can communicate. Now it is purely interactive. While the guy's doing his blog, you can be telling him, nah, that's not true. This is a completely different. We have a completely different experience. What you're saying might apply in your area, but it doesn't apply now. And this is while he or she is still in the middle of their vlog, is still in the middle of their post. And so that is how quickly now that interaction. That's why, as I said, it is called the great equalizer. And because anyone can be part of the digital world. But therein comes also the problem. When you talk to, for example, political commentators, and say you have been working for the New York Times for the last 35 years in the Middle East, or you have been working for Financial Times in Hong Kong for the last 35 years. And now we get our opinions not from that fellow who has been working in one place for 35 years, but we don't know where it's coming from anymore. We're not sure where it's coming from because anyone can go on the internet and spread their opinion. And everyone is entitled, of course, to their own opinion, but everyone also has the prerogative of being wrong. So that is where the problem arises. Because there used to be a joke when we would say, it must be true, I read it in the paper. And people would say, don't believe everything that you read on the paper. We also hear the same thing now. It's on the internet, it must be true. And there, again, there's that we see, because they see that we are not sure. When we talk to that reporter or the commentator or the author who has been working at a certain thing for his entire life, their entire lives, and now they have somebody who is a 14-year-old who's just having fun and doesn't really know much about what they're talking about, come on the internet and say, and this is regarded with equal credibility. Because it's very hard for us to know, because it's also new. It's very hard for us to know exactly. So you go back, you do a little research. You find out who is this person. When during one of the best examples of this happening was during the pandemic. You would look, these people would say, this is thing that you can do, what they're saying, be pro-vax, anti-vax, do you wear a mask, don't wear a mask, it's a political statement. We were all confused. And there was very little that you could do to find out, except to find out who these people were. And as a funny example, a friend of mine sent me, I said, you should read it, during the lockdown, you should read this. This guy makes a lot of sense. Medyo may pagka-outrageous yung kanyang mga advice. So binasa ko, and I said, well, the only best way to do this is to find out who is this guy. Baka naman Mayo Clinic, di ba? Baka naman nasa Stanford Center of ng research. So I watched, I looked, and it was a pathologist. And I told my friend, I said, why are you listening to a pathologist? If they make a mistake, it doesn't matter, their patients are already dead. So we should not be listening to these people. And that's what we are attempting to do here. What we are attempting to do here is specifically, as Secretary Cello mentioned, we also direct our attention to young people because they are the most involved. They are the ones who consider being online, working on the internet as part of their life. It's like breathing to young people. But we must give them the tools to be able to look and see what are these things that we are reading. Totoo ba ito? Should we really be doing something about it? Should I worry? Or should I just not worry because this is what people are telling me? And then it goes into every part of our lives. It becomes dangerous. It became dangerous during the pandemic because people were giving some very outrageous advice, and this was hurting other people. But then it is now extended into it has become such an important tool in the political realm. And we all hear about fake news. We all hear that the entire campaign, I've heard this in reference to somebody I know, that their entire campaign was based on fake news. Everything that they said on the internet was fake news. Well, maybe it's time that we give our kids, not only our kids, but our citizenry, the tools to be able for them to tell what is important, what is not, what is relevant, where the sources of these information come from. We have all heard the phrase, know your source. So that is perhaps the first step that we can do for our people, and to say, know your source. Tignan nyo kung saan galing, kung ano yung kwento na yan. Baka nag-inuman lang yung mga yan, tapos kung ano-ano naisip, sinulat sa internet. Naniwala naman tayo. Di ba? Kailangan bantayan natin yun. If you will notice, when we signed the poster on the Media and Information Literacy Campaign, what I wrote there is fight for the truth. And this is all that we are talking about, and this is as much as we are talking about. What we are fighting for is the truth. Because what is the very first casualty of all of these sometimes sinister, sometimes just mistaken, misguided activities, the first victim, the first casualty is the truth. And we must allow everyone to be able to discern for themselves. We will help them, but people have to learn to be able to discern for themselves what is real and what is not, what is propaganda, what is fact, what is data, and what is speculation. These are all the things that we would like for people to learn. And it is something that we have to learn. This is all very new. My sons laugh at me when I say, do you know that there was a time when there were no telephones and there were no computers? And yeah, Dad, sure. They just cannot imagine that such a world existed. But those, the younger generations here will remember that. And it has, but now this is the world that people face. It is not. I did not grow up with it. I grew up with it. I learned about computers and the digital world, cyberspace, in school. But kids, 3-year-old. I saw a 3-year-old sinking his toy to his control box. So what are you doing? Oh, I'm sinking it. Sink it. 3-year-old kid. But that's how involved we are. That's how embedded, how large a part all of this plays into our lives. We used to call it the information technology. Well, let us recognize now there is good information and there is bad information. And it's up to us to make sure that we cannot stop it. I don't think that there's ever been any country, no matter how much they wanted to try and stop the internet, or to try and block, or to try and cancel websites. They do for a little while, pero lilitaw din yan. We always somehow find a way in. So we have to find a way to make sure that whatever the inputs our people are getting, they have the capability, they have the ability to be able to discern between truth, speculation, propaganda, and outright lies. And that is the job that we are starting here today. And we need everyone to be involved. We have to, with the advent of AI, we can see that the tools that are available are becoming more and more powerful. And we're all very grateful when our machines do a little bit of their thinking for us. But it's also rather disconcerting when we are confronted by pure AI. Hindi na tao yung kausap mo. Kung ano na lang pwedeng sabihin. And that's something that we have to learn how to deal with. And that is why what we are doing here today, starting this campaign, is very, very important. And that is why I thank you all for being involved in this. It is immediate, it is urgent, and although I think that if we put our minds to it, there is a way to allow our people to be able to discern from truth and everything else. Thank you and good afternoon.
Maging kami sa Splat Communications ay hindi naging ligtas sa ganitong klase ng pangbabatikos na walang basehan noong nakaraang taon nang umarangkada ang aming pangalan dito sa ating bansa at iba pang panig ng daigdig dahil sa aming paglalahad ng mga datos ukol sa kalye survey summaries sa aming YouTube channel. So paano po ba natin malalaman kung ang nabasa o nadinig nating impormasyon ay maasahan at makatotohanan? Yan po ang ating unang hihimayin. May 4 na kategorya po ng impormasyon. Una, ang impormasyon ba ay totoo or factual? Ito ba ay base sa mga datos o katang-isip lamang? Ang binanggit ba ay espekulasyon lang o hula ng nagsasalita o nagsulat na base sa kanilang sariling opinyon? Ikatlo, ang impormasyon ba ay ginagamit na paninira o pagpapaangat ng image ng isang tao? Ito ang tinatawag na propaganda. Ika-4, downright lies o tinatawag na malinaw na kasinungalingan. Ngayong alam na po natin ang 4 na basic na kategorya ng impormasyon, ito naman po ang ating dapat gawin upang suriin ito. Ang source ng impormasyon o datos. Saan ito nanggaling? Kailan ito inilahad at sino ang naglahad ng ito? Lubhang mahalaga kung saan nanggaling ang source ng balita o impormasyon. Sa normal na proseso ng pamamahayag sa traditional media, dumadaan ang mga nababasa ninyo sa periodiko, physical man na dyaryo or in digital form sa internet, mga naririnig ninyo sa radyo at napapanood sa TV mula sa inyong paboritong network. Ang lahat ng impormasyong nilalahad nila ay dumaan sa editorial board at masusing bineripika bago ito iulat o ilahad. Yan po ang tunay na pamantayan dati. Ngunit maraming pagkakataon ngayong mga panahon na ito na ang mga tinatawag na mainstream media ay nakapaglalabas na rin ng maling mga balita at impormasyon. So dapat po ba silang paniwalaan agad? Hindi po. Maari nyo pong beripikahin ang kanilang binanggit sa mga iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan gaya ng sa Presidential Communications Office para sa opisyal na pahayag ng ating pamahalaan. Ang Presidential Communications Office po ang nangangasiwa sa pagpapalaganap ng tama, nasa oras at accurate na impormasyon ukol sa mga kaganapan, mga datos at iba pa ukol sa ating pamahalaan. Ikalawa po, kapag ang impormasyon ay nadinig nyo sa vlogger o kaya ay post ng influencer, huwag po kayo basta-basta maniwala, suriin nyo pa rin po ang sinasabi nila. Bakit po kailangang suriin? Sapagkat ang mga vlogger at influencers na ito ay may kani-kanyang interes na pinoprotektahan o inaalagaan. Diyan po sa kanila nagmumula ang mga marites at intriga. Yan po ang example ng personal na opinyon o spekulasyon lamang nila. Hindi nila nais na matuto ang mga tao, kundi maikondisyon nila ang mga isipan nito tungo sa kanilang personal na paniniwala. So sa inyong pagbusisi sa mga impormasyong inyong napapanood at nababasa, lalo na sa larangan ng politika. Kalimitan, ginagamit nila ang kanilang plataporma sa social media upang siraan ang isang tao, ang pamahalaan o kaya ay gawing bida at mukhang inosente ang isang may tunay na kasalanan. Recap lang po. Sa mundo ng social media at internet, mahalaga na ang nababasa, nadidinig at napapanood ay mula sa source na may sapat na impormasyon, hindi puro kuda lang. Part 2. Dapat po nating busisiin ang intensyon ng nagpapahayag. Kung sila po ay political blogger, influencer o kolumnista, kalimitan, ang kanilang ilalahad ay ukol sa pagbabango ng imahe ng kanilang sinusuportahang kandidato o kaya kukuda sila ng kung ano-anong mga baluktot na istorya para siraan at sirain ang kanilang kalaban sa politika. Ngayon, kapag natapos na nating alamin kung ano ang kanilang mga maaring motibo, mas madali na po nating maiisip kung ano ang tunay nilang intensyon. Hindi po namin nilalahat pero obvious naman po ito at napapanood ninyo sila base sa kanilang mga pinopost o kaya mga sinasabi. Kung naiintihan at nauunawaan na po natin ang kanilang mga motibo. Hindi na po tayo magugulat sa kanilang mga sinasabi na kalimitan ay taliwas sa katotohanan. Yan po ang binanggit ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. na downright lies o pawang kasinungalingan lamang. Ang pagpuna, pagbibigay ng opinyon or kritisismo ay hindi mali at karapatan ito ng bawat isa sa atin. Ngunit ang lahat ng ito ay dapat natin sinusuri kung talaga ba itong nakatutulong sa atin na tunay na maunawaan ang mga usapin o kaya ay ginugulo lang ang ating mga isipan para pumanig sa kanila. Ito po ang isang malinaw na ehemplo. Ang bigas ay pabababain ko ng 20 pesos bawat kilo pag ako ay nahalal na pangulo. Napaka-popular po niyan palagi lalo na may pagtaas ng pangunahing bilihin. Makakategorya po ba yan na fake news o downright na kasinungalingan na binanggit ni dating kandidatong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. noong panahon ng kampanya? Ang pananalita po na yan ay propaganda at matatawag na aspirational o pangarap para sa mga mamayan. Isang taon na mula ng manungkulan si Pangulong Marcos Jr., masasabi po bang fake news at kasinungalingan yan? Hindi po, sapagkat ito ay aspirational at parte ng kanyang plataporma, ngayon pong nakaupo na siya. Pinagtatrabahuhan na po ng mga sangay ng pamahalaan para maabot ang ganyang pangarap para sa ating lahat. Hindi po siya magic na pag-upo pa lang ay magiging 20 na agad ang presyo. It is still a work in progress. Mayroon ding mga naunang batas na isang balakid upang mapababa ang presyo ng bigas. Isa na nga dyan ang Rice Tarification Law, pero hindi na po muna tayo tutungo dyan. Pinapakita po namin na mayroong mga proseso na dapat gawin, mga batas na dapat rebisahin, upang maisakatuparan ang pagbaba ng bigas sa 20 pesos kada kilo. Mayroon din pong external factors ngayon gaya ng paghinto ng India ng pag-export ng bigas nila. So kapag ang supply po ng bigas sa world market ay nabawasan, normal at natural po ang pataas na paggalaw ng presyo nito. Sa punto po ngayon na binubuhusan ng matinding suporta at mga programa upang palakasin at patatagin ang ating agrikultura na matagal nang napabayaan ng mga nakalipas na administrasyon na naging masaya na lang sa pag-aangkat ng bigas mula sa ibang bansa. Ipit pa rin po tayo dito hanggang sa magbunga na ang mga bagong proyekto ng ating pamahalaan na magkaroon tayo ng sarili nating supply ng bigas at hindi na tayo aasa sa pag-i-import nito sa ibang bansa. Sa ganung pamamaraan, mas makokontrol na natin ang halaga nito. Gaya po ng ating pinangako sa umpisa ng video. Sinsiguro po namin na mayroon po kayong matututunan sa videong ito gaya na rin sa lahat ng video na aming inilalabas. Ito po ang ating mga mahahalagang katanungan na amin pong inaasahan na inyong sasagutin sa comment portion. Una, naunawaan niyo po ba ang ating inilahad ngayon? Ano po ang inyong natutunan dito? Paano po kayo makakatulong upang magpalaganap ng tunay na impormasyon at masiguro po ninyo na ang inyong isinishare ay hindi fake news, misinformation o disinformation? Wala pong maling kasagutan, nais lamang pong mabatid kung naging epektibo ang aming naging pahayag na nakatulog sa inyong pagkakaunawa sa ating tinalakay. May premyo po sa pinakamahusay na sagot. Good luck!